DFS Playbook podcast and live stream. That's right. No James Grande. He's away for the week. We got our guy Henry here with us today. You've seen him all over the Discord channels. You've seen him doing the MLB DFS Playbook here over at Fantasy Alarm. I think he's made an appearance or two on the podcast as well this season. But Henry, man, you and I, this is the first time you and I have been able to do this together. Happy to be here with you, man.
Yeah, I'm excited. Glad to be here as well, and excited to get to do this with you for the first time. It should be fun.
Yeah, we got 5 games here on a Thursday. Are you on the playbook for this slate? Who's on the playbook?
No, I'm doing some value plays tomorrow.
Value plays. Okay, so maybe Vreeland for the day. Let's see. Yeah, Vreeland. So Dustin Vreeland will be on your playbook. Of course, you know Vreeland. They are always in the Discord as well. This is an afternoon slate kicking off at 1:05 p.m. Eastern time. There's just 3 games later on in the day. So the main slate here, a little short gamer here on Thursday. You look at the DraftKings logos here. You got a couple of games with the rain symbol, but don't worry. Henry and I checked it all out. Shouldn't really be any impact on these games. So this 5-gamer should stay a 5-gamer, but we're not weathermen by trade. If forecasts change, be on the lookout. That will certainly be updated in the Discord. And you guys will certainly know it way ahead of time of roster lock who should be in or out of your lineups. Henry, man, like how are things been going with you? What's your feel of the slate's been? What's your recent takes been?
Things have been going pretty well lately. I felt like I was on a cold streak recently. I feel like we've jumped out of that. I feel like there's been like a change recently. We've got some exciting like young players that have recently been called up, which has kind of changed up the landscape of a lot of positions, which has been fun. So yeah, it's been exciting getting into the dog days of summer. So
yes,
time for baseball.
Waiting on those prospects to get called up. I saw the Reds sent down Fairchild last night. It's like, ooh, maybe Encarnacion Strand's getting called up, and you're like, nope, they called up 2 relief pitchers. Sorry, holding out hope here for the eventual call up of another top prospect there from the Red system. But we've seen Ellie De La Cruz come up. Gavin Williams is on the mound here tonight. So Jordan Walker got recalled, has been an absolute menace. So a lot of this top end talent, a lot of these top prospects, where it seemed like, 5 years ago, maybe 1 or 2 of these guys would come up and hit, but a lot of them would sort of be middlers. It almost feels like every top prospect that's getting called up for the majority of the time here is coming up and just producing, being like instant impact players. So, exciting to see, helps the game out, makes it fun to watch. And, like you said, we got 5 games here on today's slate. So why don't we kind of jump in to some of the Vegas totals here for this 5-gamer. Again, going over, we got Atlanta, Philly, Arizona, Washington, Oakland, Cleveland, Boston, Minnesota, and San Diego, San Francisco here. Arizona, Washington, that game is an 8.5 total, with Washington sitting at a 125 home underdog. Arizona minus 145 on the money line there. Atlanta, Philadelphia, an 8.5 game total. Atlanta's a minus 120 favorite. That's Bryce Elder versus Taijuan Walker. Red Sox, Minnesota. Red Sox currently don't have a starter announced. DraftKings has Brandon Walter expected to be promoted and appear for Thursday's game. We'll see if he starts, if this is going to be a bullpen game here. But Joe Ryan on the other side of this, no official line yet because the undetermined starter for Boston. But I have to imagine with Joe Ryan on the mound, that's a lean for Minnesota. There, Oakland, Cleveland. Cleveland is a minus 175 favorite with Logan Allen on the mound opposing JP Sears. That is an 8-game total there. And then the final game on this slate, San Diego, San Francisco. Blake Snell on the mound here against the Giants, a minus 120 favorite with an 8.5 game total. So no game totals over 8.5. The largest favorite on the board here, Cleveland minus 175 against Oakland. What are your thoughts there on those matchups?
Yeah, a lot of what should be kind of close games. Obviously, no huge favorites. Biggest one being Cleveland. Obviously anyone facing Oakland is going to be a decent favorite. But hey, they've been winning some games lately. So.
Yeah, 100%. Logan Allen, another one of the pitching prospects in that Cleveland organization, coming up and pitching pretty well there. So should be a popular play, I would imagine here. Again, with a short slate here, we're going to work our way through these positions for everybody, give a breakdown. So let's kick it off at the starting pitcher position. Henry, when we're looking at these top guys here, we have 3 guys up over 9K, and then it's a big drop-off after that. We have Joe Ryan, Blake Snell, and Bryce Elder. If you had to prioritize those 3 starters to build lineups around, how are you ranking them?
Yeah, I think my number one is Blake Snell because he has been fantastic lately. He has 12 strikeouts in his last two games, and now facing San Francisco, they strike out a ton, especially against lefties. And the last game with 12 strikeouts was against the Rays. So,
Right.
like, if he can strike out 12 Rays, how many strikeouts can he get against San Francisco?
Right.
Could be awesome. So he's my number one for sure. I think after that, I would pay up for Joe Ryan. He's an ace. He's been amazing all year. He had a little bit of a hiccup last outing.
Yeah, a weird game, right? Where you had seven strikeouts, he went 7 innings, he'd even throw 100 pitches, but somehow 6 earned runs. So throw that one away. It's an anomaly start, unlikely really to repeat itself.
Yeah, exactly. But, those would be my top two. Probably not paying up for Elder. I think, for the top three, I think Elder is easily the third there. Mm-hmm. But it definitely goes Snell, Ryan, then Elder for me, that top.
Okay, yeah. Listen, Blake Snell, obviously earlier this year, got off to kind of a weird start. Strikeouts were down. He was very wild. He wasn't even pitching, into the 6th inning in some of these games, but he's really turned it over the last handful of starts for him. And San Francisco all season long has been a team that has struggled against left-handed pitching. They have the 5th highest strikeout rate against left-handed pitching on the year at 25.7%. They've started to increase a little bit. Some of those guys they got back in their lineup started to turn the tide a little bit, but they don't have Haniger. They don't have Wilmer Flores right now. So definitely missing some bats that can hit left-handed pitching here. So I'm with you. The way Blake Snell has been pitching lately, very difficult to not want to sort of continue to ride out that hot streak, especially on a smaller slate. A guy that can get you 10 strikeouts can be a difference maker. Of course, it'll be interesting to see where the rostership goes here. And I think Joe Ryan's probably a good pivot. We'll see what Boston does tonight, but that offense has been on fire lately. And if they get it to Sonny Gray tonight, after the way they hammered them on Monday, people may be a little worried to go up with Joe Ryan here against Boston, which could make him a nice pivot in these smaller slates.
Totally, because Joe Ryan is an ace. He can shut down anybody, even a hot offense like Boston. He can go and put out a great game anytime.
Right. So. Yeah, 100% there. Boston up 1-0 on this one already as well, so they're getting to Sonny Gray early. After, as I mentioned, it's all the way up at the top, and then we hit this mid-tier range. Logan Allen's at 79, Ty Walker at 73, JP Sears at $6,800, Alex Wood. It's very clear there's one tier, there's another tier. If you're looking at the guys below those top three, how would you rank them? Who are you targeting?
Yeah, I've got two, I think, that are really my favorites above everybody else. The first one is the aforementioned Logan Allen. I think, again, anybody facing Oakland, sign me up. But he's obviously slowed down a little bit compared to his really fast start when he first got called up. He's still been pitching really well. And facing Oakland, I mean, who knows what can happen with time. I could probably go strike out some Oakland Athletics. So definitely like him. And then my number two is actually the other side of this game as well, with JP Sears facing Cleveland. He's been pitching really well. And Cleveland's not a scary offense. This one has a lot more risk to it for sure. But I like JP Sears. I think he could do something here against Cleveland.
Yeah, Sears is interesting because really, as long as he doesn't give up a home run, he's usually pretty good, right? 4 earned runs allowed against Philly, 3 homers. 2 earns against Milwaukee, gave up a home run. They gave up a home run against Atlanta, 1 earned run, a home run against Seattle, 1 earned run. So it's just keeping the ball in the ballpark is the biggest problem for me. Is 17 home runs allowed in 14 starts, but 72 strikeouts in 76 innings is really good here. And as you mentioned, sure, they have Jose Ramirez. He's a pretty powerful guy, but they don't really have a lot of other power in this offense. Josh Naylor is a lefty. Josh Bell's better power sides from the left side, not the right side. So, this could be a spot where Sears kind of holds them down. In Oakland, getting to Gavin Williams, they're up 4-0 right now. Noda with a 3-run home run off of Gavin Williams there. So welcome to the show, kid. Major leagues are a different animal. So I'm with you there. I think that game could be pretty interesting. We like Logan Allen. Another guy that has generally some decent strikeout potential here. It has limited a lot of the damage, but the home run ball, again, problem for him lately as well for the last 5 games, giving up a home run. But when you look at these slates, there aren't a lot of obvious value plays here. I've kind of flirted with some Tommy Henry every now and then. It worked okay against Cleveland, not so much against Philly. Did have 6 Ks there probably a no-go for me against Washington. So I'm with you. If I'm on this 5-game slate, I'm looking to build some lineups around. It's probably plugging in Blake Snell. It's probably pivoting to Joe Ryan if I want to be a little different. And then it's figuring out what side of Allen and Sears I want. I might go both to get him in my lineups. But Ty Walker against Atlanta, no. Alex Wood against San Diego, probably not going to go there either. So that's my outlook on the starting pitching for the slate.
Yep, I fully agree with you. I think I'm going to be doing the same thing.
Let's move on over to the hitters here. We'll take a look at some of our favorite infielders for the day. If we're breaking down some of these matchups, we talked about it. There's only a few pitchers we like, so that obviously means that there's going to be probably some hitters that we're keying in on here. If we're looking at the catcher position specifically, any obvious matchups for you that you're looking to take advantage of?
I don't think there's anything super obvious at the catcher position today. There's nothing too crazy going on. I think I'm willing to pay for the top in JT Realmuto just because he has been outrageous lately. I mean, he is hitting the crap out of the ball. So I don't like a ton of the lower options. So maybe it's a day that I pay up a catcher and go for JT Realmuto.
Yeah, I listen, it's rare that I like to spend up at catcher, but I think obviously Real Muto had a cycle and then he followed it up with like another game where he had a double and a triple right afterwards. So super high ceiling. Gary Sanchez against Alex Wood could be an interesting spot just for the power potential that he brings to the table there. I also like Kybert Ruiz against Tommy Henry at 3K. I think both guys could certainly find their way into some lineups. But after that, I don't really have much else interesting. Carson Kelly's back in this lineup here. He's 2 hits his last time out, didn't play today, hadn't had any hits prior, but they've been playing him over Gabriel Moreno. He's, Jake Irvin's hasn't been anything special. So maybe a punt play with Kelly there at $2,400, but there's not a lot when it comes to this this position here.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. I think if I'm not paying for Realmuto, I think Kybert Ruiz is probably my favorite to go to the cheaper end. But other than that, yeah, there isn't a whole lot that really excites me. Bo Naylor is obviously kind of exciting, but a lefty-lefty matchup, he hasn't really done anything yet. I don't think I want to go there. So, yeah, I think I'd agree with you.
Yep. First base position here, again, you're kind of looking at smaller slates, so the player pool is weaker, but we do have Matt Olson here, but he's 6K, so we're getting a little bit pricey. He's been over 6K now for a handful of slates. We know the power's been there. Homers in 3 of the last 5. You find yourself looking to spend out for Matt Olson against Ty Walker in this matchup, or you're looking at maybe any of the value plays we find ourselves down below.
Yeah, I mean, 6K is just so much. I love Matt Olson, but when, you need a homer basically for sure. Obviously, Matt Olson's a great home run bet any day, but it just seems like so much to pay up for first base there that I don't know if I can do it. And I'm probably going to drop down to something lower. There's some kind of rough matchups like through the middle of first base as far as guys getting the same handedness against him a lot. But if I'm, really wanting to pay down for first base, maybe I drop down like Tristan Casas, who's really cheap, obviously facing Joe Ryan. That's tough. But like you said, the Boston offense has been hot. Casas has kind of been picking it up lately. So as far as like a really cheap first base option, he could be a decent one that's not going to have a lot of ownership either. Decent chance there.
I can see myself going to Donovan Solano here. Again, if Walter's starting a lefty, Solano's been has led off games against left-handed pitching this year. Not a sexy name by any sense of the imagination, but again, this Walter kid has a 6 ERA at AAA. It could be a bullpen game, could just be a game that they give him out there. Like, all right, kid, go out there, need some innings. 26-year-old making his debut, so not really considered a top prospect by any sense of the imagination here. And for better or for worse, this show at least likes the Twins. James and I find ourselves playing the Twins maybe more than we should. But if Solano finds himself in the leadoff spot here at $2,300 against a lefty, I think I could get there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. If getting anybody in the leadoff spot at 2,300 is usually a pretty good bet. But then also, obviously, Solano's already also with over 1,000 OPS over the last 10 games. Like, he's hitting the ball pretty well. So, yeah for 2,300, definitely worth a shot there.
Yeah, and his splits this year going up against left-handed pitching is grabbing it quick. He is hitting 292 with a 460 slug and an 800 OPS. So, again, he's not someone that's going to go hit 30 home runs for you, but the last couple of seasons, especially, he's been a guy that when lefties are on the mound, he's found a lot of success. Last year against lefties, 301 with a 422 slug and a 770 OPS there. So gets on base. Again, not going to steal, not going to hit for a lot of power, but they could string some runs together potentially in this matchup for him. So I like that. I like the Costas call. I would give Meneses a look as well. Again, I'm generally just a fan of the Nationals against left-handed pitching. He's hitting 300 on the year. I know he's kind of on a little bit of a slump, but a guy that last year killed left-handed pitching. Now, again, splits aren't necessarily there for him this year. He got off to a pretty slow start, but I do generally like Washington against Southpaws. Tommy Henry hasn't been anything to write home about this year. So that's kind of where I'm at. If I'm not spending up for Matt Olson here, I'm probably going down to the value like you mentioned. Casas, Meneses, probably two guys, and then Solano would be the other one for me.
Yeah, I think those are some great places to go for sure.
Moving on over to the second base position here. Thairo Estrada did not play today. Probably going to be in the lineup, but he gets Snell. Ketel Marte against Irvin. Ozzie Albies against Taijuan Walker, your top three. Ketel Marte right now has been unbelievable, and is probably the guy I'd be looking to spend up for if I'm going that direction.
Yeah, totally agreed. If I'm spending up, it's going to be Ketel Marte because obviously Irvin's not anything scary there. And yeah, he's been just red hot lately. And when he's hitting well, he's obviously we've seen him put on like MVP caliber stretches at the plate. So yeah, if I'm paying up for second base, it's definitely
him. In recent numbers, again, 2 homers. We got 6 steals on the season as well. So the speed starting to come around for him. It's not to say you can't go Estrada, but we kind of like Snell. Albies isn't the right split platoon for him. He kills lefties, but again, you could go there if you want. But at 550, 100, I'd rather find the $100 for Marte. If we're looking mid-tier, how are you figuring out this second base position?
Oh, it's Andre Jimenez, and it's no question he's number one. He is so good against lefties. He's basically unusable against righties.
Which is weird because he's a left-handed hitter, right? So, like, wrong split,
he has
he's smashing.
Yeah, some of the most extreme reverse splits of any player, but he, absolutely crushes lefties. So anytime he's facing a lefty, he seems like he's in my lineup every single time because he's still always cheap because his overall numbers aren't that great. So the price isn't low. So basically you should never, ever use him against a righty. But when he's facing a lefty, I mean, he is awesome.
324 average, of 500 slugging percentage, and a 910 OPS against left-handed pitching this year for the left-handed hitting. Andres Jimenez went to you. Such a weird. You almost never see it. Sometimes you see reverse splits pitchers. You almost never see a reverse splits hitter. It's very,
especially with a lefty. Right. Like sometimes a righty sure crushes righties. But
it's right. Hammers right-handed pitching. Like that's fine. But yeah, for a lefty on a lefty, weird. Almost never see that. The other one that I'm looking at here is Ha-Seong Kim, another guy that has historically hit since he's been in the league, left-handed pitching pretty well. This year on the year, 780 OPS, 443 slugging percentage against left-handed pitching. So he's got Alex Wood here. I think he's a pretty decent pivot at $3,700. And the wedge between them, Perdomo's let off lately. 2 stolen bases. The Diamondbacks, they had 7 stolen bases in that game against Milwaukee. So they're generally a team that's looking to run. Perdomo 2 bags himself today. So if he's leading off again at 4K, could get there. The Diamondbacks are the only team in baseball this year that have not been shut out. I don't think Jake Irvin's going to be the guy to do it.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
What other value second basemen are on your radar?
As you keep going down, a lot of those guys that I usually like, again, have some, rough splits I don't want to do. Edward Julian facing lefty, Luis Garcia facing lefty, guys I normally like, but probably don't want the lefty-lefty matchups. Sure. Christian Arroyo, again, if you want to pivot and do a Boston sack against Joe Ryan, that's tough. But Christian Arroyo just had a 5-hit game. So, I mean, he's obviously not a big name, but if he can go up and do something like he did there again, he's real cheap. So, kind of decent pivot option there.
I agree with you. There's really not much else at the second base position after that. So, moving on over to third base, some top names here: Devers, Riley, Ramirez, Machado. All of them pretty much have the splits we're looking for here. How would you rank out the top 4?
Ooh, that's tough. I would probably rank them Jose Ramirez number 1. He's been pretty awesome lately. And then after that, probably Rafael Devers, and then Austin Riley number 3, just because Riley's been pretty cold lately. Yeah. So I don't know if I want to jump on the Austin Riley train right now.
Yeah, we'll wait and see if Aaron Nola can get him started after given the ridiculous splits. That game currently still in a rain delay as we record here on Wednesday evening, waiting for the Atlanta Philly game to maybe officially kick off here tonight. But I agree with you. Manny Machado has some insane lefty splits this year as well. It's like a 370 average, like a 600 slugging percentage. So I probably go Ramirez, Machado, Devers if I'm ranking the three. Waiting for Devers to really have that big breakout game. He's up there in RBIs for the year, but atypical OPS and batting average for Devers this season. So that's how I would rank up the top. If we're looking in the mid-teen value range, what third basemen are sticking out to you?
I kind of like Candelario. Again, we said we like Washington against lefties, and he's kind of a piece of that. He's been hitting pretty well lately. So I kind of like Candelario there at third. I also like Royce Lewis. He's still pretty cheap, and he's kind of starting to heat up. And he hasn't been bad. He hasn't been obviously like setting the world on fire since he got called up. But I mean, the dude's batting .311. Like, not every prospect can come up and be incredible, right?
Sometimes it takes a little time, right? Gunnar Henderson. How many people were giving up on Gunnar Henderson, and now all of a sudden it's the middle of June, and he is looking like the number one prospect that was coming into the league, right? So sometimes it takes a little bit to heat up. And I know you're in our Discord. You see some of the questions we get. Is it time to cut this guy loose? Is it time to cut that guy loose? Hold on. He's only had 3 weeks in the league. Like, give him a second to catch his breath, see some major league pitching, and get adjusted to it. And maybe that's what we're seeing now with Royce Lewis up there. Homered last night. Corey Kluber is an absolute disaster out of that Red Sox bullpen right now. I agree. Could be a really good spot for Royce Lewis at $3,400. Justin Turner continues to hit. He has a stolen base tonight of all things as well. Like, man, is father time, but having himself another good night here tonight as part of the Red Sox initial run. So he's $3,800. I think we can go there as well in that mid-tier. Three guys, same price points, all sticking out to me. So I like that call.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, Justin Turner getting some home runs too, which seems like he wasn't able to hit any anymore. Right. And all of a sudden he had a 2-home run game the other day. So yeah.
Yeah, move him into a better park in Fenway and, watch him thrive here. So not much for value though down here at third base. I don't know if there's anybody in particular you're noticing that maybe I'm just not kind of paying attention to or not.
No, not really. I don't think there's anyone at this like real cheap end that I would really love to go past that, 3,500 tier. Yeah. It kind of gets ugly fast, and you're really throwing a dart to hope to grab something.
I used to throw a lot of darts at Michael Chavis against lefties. Like last year, that was the thing. This year, it has not been a thing. So
yeah, I was a big Chavis believer for a while, but he just hasn't figured out.
Cannot not swing and miss. So that's not going to help you out in the Major League Baseball. So. Shortstop position here. Trey Turner's your top guy at $6K. Xander, for whatever reason, is still priced at $5K. You got a lefty against Correa at $4,300. That's looking like a pretty good matchup.
Yeah, I think of this top here, Correa is definitely my favorite. He's been really heating up lately, been hitting a lot better after his super slow start. And yeah, I think the prices are just too high for Trey Turner and Xander Bogaerts, who have been, obviously they're still stars, but they haven't been incredible lately. And so I don't know if I want to pay those super high prices when you can get Carlos Correa for $4,300.
Yeah, I agree. And Correa is starting to heat up, like we mentioned there. The 256 batting average, whatever, but 538 slug, 848 OPS, 2 homers over the last 10. Gets that lefty matchup, which a long time he was part of that Houston crew. Could have been the trash cans, could have just been that they were good at hitting left-handed pitching, one of the two. But Correa was always a southpaw masher there. So you can go up there, you can spend up there. A couple of guys with dual positional eligibility that we discussed already as well with Hassan Kim and Perdomo. Any other guys at shortstop that you have some interest in?
Yeah, like we said, Kim is a decent option there as well. I mean, you could maybe go towards Orlando Arcia, who's hitting the ball really well lately. I'm not entirely sure what Arcia's splits are, righty. Might check on that real quick. But if he's not terrible against righties, which I don't think he is.
He's been hitting everybody, it seems like. So
yeah, I think so. So I could see going to Orlando Arcia there, especially the Atlanta Braves offense is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
So you're never going to go wrong getting a piece of that, even if it's at the bottom of the lineup. So I could see going to Arcia today or tomorrow as well.
Yeah, I think my lowest value here is going to be Vargas from Washington. Now, he's got to be in the lineup. There are days where he is, there are days where he isn't, but against left-handed pitching on the season, 290 batting average, a 516 slugging percentage, and 800 OPS. So the right side of the platoon for him is against Southpaws here. If he finds himself in the lineup at $2,600 for Washington, I'll probably have some interest there just because of the price tag.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
Moving on over here to the outfield, and then we'll go ahead and get a lineup built for everybody. A couple more minutes left in the show here tonight. Top guys, just rattle them off for me. A big position here, a lot of favorites.
Oof, yeah, tons of favorites. I mean, at the very top, Acuna and Tatis, obviously their prices are ridiculous, but they're ridiculous.
Right.
The scores they are putting up day in, day out, like if you're paying up somewhere, I would do it here. Like they're just so outrageously good that even with their stupid high price tags, they can be worth it most of the time.
Yeah, 66 and 65 is two of the highest tags I've seen maybe all season long for hitters. So on a smaller slate, they're making it difficult to double stack those two, but 100% worth it. Corbin Carroll has officially hit the 6K mark. That's another guy that's right up there. Can homer, can steal a bag, can do the both in the same game. So I definitely like those three, but all just crazy price points on them there. Going down into the mid tier, I always play Lane Thomas against a lefty, and Tommy Henry will not buck that trend. $4,400 for me. I'll get some access to that. And then Michael Harris has been unbelievable, and he's $4,200 in this Braves lineup. Feels like a Braves stack's on its way here for us.
Oh, yeah. I'm always here for a Braves stack. You can never go wrong. And yeah, Michael Harris, you're obviously still getting him for cheap because his season has been not good, but he's hitting the ball again. And with, how hyped everyone was on him coming into the year and how amazing he was last year, I'm not going to be surprised if he's able to turn around and be a fantastic hitter again the rest of the way. So I'm definitely willing to quickly jump on board with Michael Harris again and use him as part of any Atlanta.
More Braves. Eddie Rosario is $3,700. 5 homers the last 10 games, 378 with a 1276 average. OPS rather can go there. Jarren Duran, Estory Ruiz stole another base today, 38 on the year now for Estory Ruiz. So some good value plays here. Give me a couple of value names for you.
We got Jake McCarthy at 2,800. Facing Irving. McCarthy has got the power speed. He's been hitting the ball pretty well lately. I like that spot. Beyond that, there's a couple places you could go for the cheaper ends here.
I like Stone Garrett, $2,600. I think that.
Yep, I like. I was gonna say Max Kepler, but just kidding. It's a lefty-lefty matchup, so I'm not sure if I want to go.
Laureano against Logan Allen at 23 is decent.
Yep, Laureano can do some damage. Pavin Smith, Jason Irvin at 3,000. I think is another pretty good cheap option.
Michael Taylor rather against Walter 2,300 could be good. Alec Thomas has come up and hit pretty well. He's got Irvin at $2,300 there. So some value outfielders that we can take advantage of here. Before we make the lineup, give me your home run call for the night.
My home run call for the night is gonna be Fernando Tatis Jr.
I like that. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna run it with. I'm gonna go Machado. Machado's my home run at 52. That's where I'll go.
Yeah, good call.
I got about a minute to build a lineup, so I think we like Snell. And did you rather Sears or Allen if we had to go value pitcher?
I'd prefer Allen if we have to choose one.
4K for a catcher. There wasn't much down here, but Kybert sound good to you? 3K.
Absolutely. Right. Yep. Kybert's
first base position here. Let's see, do you think we can fit Olsen? We might be able to with all the.
Maybe. Let's see.
Michael Harris is there. We like the Cunha. Let's see. How cheap can we get? What was our Alec Thomas? I think was our cheapest down there.
Yeah, I would go Alec Thomas then if we needed some cheap there.
Let's see. $3,300. Vargas, I liked the 26, 36.
Sure.
100. Justin Turner's 38. Shortstop.
Go. Arcia at 39 or Kim at 37. I think either would be decent
let's
options.
go Arcia and let's get off Turner 34. Royce Lewis, bingo. So
Yep.
that's a lineup for everybody: Snell, Allen, Ruiz, Olsen, Vargas, Lewis, Arcia, Harris, Acuna, and Thomas. 4-man Atlanta stack for everybody. We'll be back 5 o'clock Eastern. Servo and Ronis breaking down the late slate.